Hello everyone, welcome to today's lecture. Today we're going to talk about pricing strategies in sports. In previous two lectures, we spent time to talk about sports products. We also talk about how we are able to develop a brand, increase or enhance brand value for our products. Today we're going to talk about pricing strategies to see how we are able to set the price and what kind of pricing strategy has been utilized in the sports industries. Before we're going to introduce some of the concepts, we would like to look at one of the quick examples that are really related to our personal life. When we are driving around, so when our car runs out of gas, so we need to go and find a gas station to fill out the empty gas tank. Right? Most of the customers are trying to find where they're able to get the lowest the price in their areas. So we find out one thing that's kind of interesting, right? Sometimes we see like 3 or 4 gas stations right next to each other, but their price varies, significant difference sometimes, right? So when you travel around from one state to another state, you find out, gas in some state is very cheap, but in other states are very expensive, particularly California. If you travel to West Coast, you find out the gas price there are very, very expensive. I'll give you a quick examples here. This picture, they show you the gas price by state in March 2020. We know March 2020, due to the COVID-19, a lot of states decided to shut down, so the gas price is actually very cheap in March. A lot of states, you can see the gas price is actually lower than $2. So these pictures actually tell you in March 20th and that particular day how the gas price varies across the countries. You find out anywhere in red the gas price less than $2. In Ohio, someone told me they're able to find out gas price less than $1 at some gas stations because the state was shut down for 2 weeks. Obviously no one's driving around those 2 weeks, so the gas price is very low. You find out those states the gas price are less than $2 at that time. In some of the states the gas price was between $2 to $2.80, but California, Oregon, and Washington, these 3 states, Hawaii as well, so their gas price is above $2.80. So it's the same day, same time, using the same product, but the price is a significant difference. So people always want to know how come there are significant differences in gas price among different states. So there are a lot of different reasons. The first reason is tax difference. So all the retailers, they have to pay 18.4% of the federal tax. For state tax varies. So some state they have a very high tax on gasolines. So I'll give you an example. In 2018, the gas station in Pennsylvania, they have to pay 77 cents per gallon for tax, while in Missouri, the gas stations only need to pay 35 cents per gallon for the tax. So the tax are a bit different. So you find out the gas price also different in different states. And you find out California, the gas price is always really high, higher than any other states, because they require all the gas stations using unique fuel blend gas, which is not required in any other state. So their gas prices are highest in the countries. And also you find out the brands also make a significant difference. They have huge impact on the price. So if you decide to fill the gas at BP or Shell, the gas price will be higher. But if you decide to fill the gas at these convenience stores, normally their gas price is cheaper. So those also brands have made the difference. And also the competition also made some difference. In a competitive area, the gas price will be lower than area where there are very limited competition existing. So a lot of time the gas price here in Oxford are higher than in Cincinnati's, than in Hamilton. So you find out because the competition here is less compared to competitions in other cities, because we don't have that many gas stations here. So we don't have a lot of competitions. So that's why gas price here is slightly higher than the gas price in Cincinnati. So that is why the gas price varies across the country, even across the state, even in the city, that we have a different type of gas price. Okay, let's look at some of the key concepts in pricings. The first things we're going to look at price and values. So price is a statement of the value for a particular sports products. They understand customer perception of the value is really critical for us to decide what kind of price that we're going to set for that particular products. So if some of the products we think customer think that is a fancy products, the price is normally high. If some products are very common, so the price is normally low. Right? Value is defined as sum of the perceived benefits of sports products minus the sum of the perceived costs. Right? So value we emphasize is those perceived benefits by the customers. So customers might have very different perceptions for the value of the products. For instance, when we're going to Cubs games, we have to spend $10 for a beer. Customer A, who's living in New York, thought that's very cheap because they have to spend $12 for a beer when they're watching Yankees games. Right? Someone else might thought this is reasonable, but maybe some customer would think this is very expensive because they can get the same beer outside stadium for only $6. So price sometimes is not completely identical as values. We're using the same examples, right? Coca-Cola, if you go and watch the sports events, if you're going to buy a can of Coca-Cola like this, maybe they charge you $2, $3, right? Exactly the same product you buy outside the stadiums and vending machine. You buy a can of Coke from the vending machine, they only charge you $1.50. So think about it, exactly the same products, because they're being sold in a very different place, so they charge you a different price. So price sometimes does not reflect the value of the products, right? So this is about pricing, some of the big concept of the pricings. As a marketer, a lot of time we have to make a decision about whether we would like to increase price or decrease price, right? So this is called price elasticities. Price elasticities is a metric that reflects a change in the level of demand in response to a change in price, right? And let's look at a quick examples here. So the sports events, if we charge $10 per tickets, we will have about 1,000 fans come over here to watch the events. If we charge $15, there will be 600 fans come over here to watch the games. If we charge $22.50, so we'll have 360 fans come here to watch the games. So you have to look at the total revenues, right? So what will be the most ideal price for these events? Obviously it's $10 because we can have about 1,000 fans want to come here watch the game. So the total revenue we generate is highest, right? So we'll be able to get $10,000 as the total revenues. When the price is $15, the total revenue will be generated $9,000. When the price increased to $22.50, the total revenue will be received is $8,100, right? So this is something that we have to think about as a marketer, whether we need to increase the price or not. If we increase the price, how the customers will react to these price changes. Let's look at another very interesting examples about Amazon. I'm not sure how many of you have the Amazon Prime memberships. For the customer, they always have to make decisions whether they would like to subscribe these memberships. Currently, you're students, possibly you got half price for 6 months, right? So that's kind of nice that you only need to pay, I think, $60 for a year memberships, and that's kind of nice. But 6 months later, Amazon will charge you full price, which is about currently is $119 a year. A lot of customers will have to make decisions whether I would like to pay $120 for having Amazon memberships. So this decision-making process will be determined by the benefits that I would like to have this membership. If I love watching the videos provided by Amazon and memberships, they'll say, wow, it possibly is worth, right? And also depends on how often are you going to use the service provided by the Prime memberships. Having a Prime membership, the biggest benefit is that you can enjoy free shipping, right? So if you use free shipping all the time, for instance, you buy a product from Amazon all the time, you buy it more than 4 times a month, it's actually kind of worth it, because if you have to pay for shipping, you have to pay like $3 every time you buy the product at least, right? $3, sometimes they charge you $5, depends on the size of the package. But having the Amazon Prime membership, you can enjoy free shipping. So if you buy the product 10 times a month, so having a Prime membership is actually a big benefit for you, because you can really save this money for paying for the shipping costs, right? So this is a decision made by the customers whether they would like to continue to subscribe the membership from Amazon's. But if you don't normally buy things from Amazon, that's not worth it for you to pay $120 a year to have that memberships, right? So this is something from the customer's perspective. From the Amazon's perspective, they have to think about, if we set the price at 120s, how many of the customer would like to have, that will be happy to be the Prime memberships, whether we are able to make the monies here. Well, which means if we have, like, we say 1 million people would like to become the Amazon Prime members. Obviously, Amazon have a lot more Prime members, right? So if, I'll give an example, you will have 1 million people would like to become the Amazon Prime members. You possibly want to know in how many of them are using this free shipping all the time, how many of them not using these free shippings, whether Amazon, we are able to make monies from selling these memberships. Okay, so this is about Amazon memberships. So there are a lot of factors will impact the pricing strategies. So we can classify those factors into 2 types, internal factors and external factors. When we look at the internal factors, so that including marketing mix, right? Products, promotions, place, which is also called distributions, right? If we have to spend a lot of money on making the products, obviously the price is higher, right? Spend a lot of money on promotion, price is higher. If we have to like run a place, to have a store to sell the products, the cost is very high for distributing the products. Obviously the price is higher, right? And of course costs will also impact the pricing, and also organization objective, which is another internal factors. Instead of internal factors, we also have some external factors that will impact the pricing decisions, which is include consumer demands, competition, legal, economics, and technologies. So we're going to look at each of the factors one by one to see how those things will impact the pricings. First of all, let's look at from the marketing mix, which is include products, promotions, and distributions. For the products, right, there are a lot of factors that will impact the price. first thing is about product quality and service quality, right? If the quality of the product is very good and also well-known brand, we talk about we're able to charge higher prices for the product that we sell to the customers. When we talk about product, we also talk about 4 stage for the product life cycles, right? So if we just introduce this new product to the market, normally we're using low price strategy, right? When we're experiencing growth, in order to increase market share, we could use some like discount price to try to help us increase market share. When during the maturity, price is normally very high because we are dominant in this market, or we are the monopoly in this market, so the prices will be high. In the decline, the price will be low, right? So these 4 stages, how would that impact the pricing strategies? Promotion will also have a big impact. A lot of times we have sales promotions in order to increase market sales. We would like to have some discount to the customer, right? So that will be a low price strategies. Or sometimes we'll give them coupons, or give them very good packages. So that if there's coupons, obviously low price, right? We lower the prices. And if that's packages, obviously we can increase the price. Personal selling will also impact the price that we set for the products. Personal selling is sometimes the price will be lower because the customer, they are able to negotiate the price, right? Unlike buying things from Amazon, you can't negotiate the price, right? Amazon charge you $20, you can't say just I'm gonna give you $15, I still want these products, right? It doesn't work. But personal sales, you'll be able to ask the salesman, say, is that possible that you can lower the price a little bit? I'll be happy to buy. Distributions. Distribution will also impact the pricing strategies. First of all, let's look at distribution channel. Traditionally, price will be really high because if we want to sell something at retailer, there's a lot of humans involved. So the price is normally high. For the non-traditional approach right now, online shopping, normally price will be lower because we don't need to recruit people to sell these products. We don't need to run the place to sell the products, right? So the price will be lower for the online shoppings. And distribution place will also impact the price, right? So for instance, the honeymoon effect we talked about previously, when we talk about sports stadiums, right? New stadium normally will ask for higher prices because they believe customer will be very likely to come over here to watch the game because that's a brand new stadium. People want to see how fancy these stadiums is, right? So that is also will impact the price. If the event has been hosted in the well-known stadiums, of course the price will be high. And also the distribution time. A lot of the marketers, in order to sell more products, of course, they are trying to change the price. Like, for instance, during Thanksgiving, a lot of people would like to go to buy something, right? Black Fridays, the price is lower. A lot of product, they have discounts, so we'll be able to enjoy the low price. If you want to buy the ticket a day before the game, normally the price will be really high, right? Because particularly the game is really popular, high demand games. If you don't book the tickets ahead of time, you just want to buy it just on the game day or a day before, the price normally is really high, right? So those is how marketing mix will impact your pricing strategies. Cost, right? Cost will also impact the pricing strategies. So to calculate the cost, we have a fixed cost. We also have variable costs. We talk about cost. A lot of news articles always want to say, like iPhone. All these iPhone normally charge very high price. right? But how much they use to make the product is much cheaper. The iPhone, if we want to buy a new one nowadays, we have to spend more than $1,000. But they actually only spent $441 to make these entire iPhones. People would think, well, iPhone, you actually made $600 for every phone you sell, right? Actually, people ignore a very important thing is design, right? There have R&D team, research and design team. So they also spend a lot of time to design these products, right? So when we look at the products, the price for the products, we cannot just look at, what kind of material they use to make of these products. We also have to think about the company. You also have to hire people to make these products, right? When we hire people, we have to pay these people's salary. It's not just people who made these products. They also need to have other team to design this product. They also have the money they have spent on promoting these products. So those are the costs are very, very high when they're trying to introduce a product to the markets. So when we look at the cost, we have fixed costs, we have variable costs. So fixed costs are the sum of the producers' expense. They're stable, won't likely to change with the quantities of the products consumed. So we talk about iPhone, right? iPhone 11 charge you $1,100. So they spend like $441 to make these iPhone 11s. So this is a fixed product. Variable costs are some of the producers' expense that vary, change as the result of the quantity of the product being consumed. We talk about when Apple introduced iPhone 11s to this market, they of course will have to spend money on promotion, right? Sometimes they will spend a lot of money on promotions. If the customer's interest is low, they have to spend a lot of money in promotions, right? If customers' demand is really high, they possibly don't need to spend a lot of money on promotions. They can use the word of the mouth, and they get people to keep telling about how good for having iPhone 11s, right? So those are variable costs. Really depends on the organizations. So in the sports industries, let's look at an example. This example is called Fan Cost Index. So Fan Cost Index is a sports marketing company. It's called team marketing company. So every year they are trying to report the Fan Cost Index. So they are going to report how much money each family will have to pay for if they want to go and watch professional American sports games. So for the Fan Cost Index, so they're going to calculate if the family have 4 members, if they want to attend the games, how much money they have to pay. So they calculate these 4 members will have to buy 4 tickets, 4 small soft drinks, 2 small beers, 4 hot dogs, parkings, and adult-size souvenir caps for 2 and 2 programs. So they want to see how much money they pay in order to watch these games. So here I give you some number in 2016, right? They find out if you want to go to MLB games, the whole family of 4 will have to pay $212, which is the cheapest one. If you want to go to NFL game, you have to pay $473. NBA game charge $328, and NHL game charge you $357. We also know, of course, this is the average cost, right? Some teams obviously charge you higher prices than the other teams, right? So if you go to watch your Cowboys games, go to watch Patriots games, they charge higher price. Their ticket price are higher. Their commercial products also are more expensive than other stadiums, so they're higher. Some teams obviously the price is lower. So this just gives you the idea of how much money the whole family have to pay for if they want to go and watch a professional sports game. So the average cost in 2016 was $342 to watch the games. The last internal factor we would like to talk about today is the organizational objectives. Normally, the organization normally have three different objectives when they're trying to sell the product. The first one is the income objective. Those include they're trying to achieve maximum profits or simply organization survivals. So it depends, right? So if they try to maximize the profits, they're more likely to charge you higher prices. If they're just trying to being survive in this market, they possibly charge you lower prices. The second objective called sales objective. Those objectives are connected with maintaining or enhancing the market shares or encouraging sales growth. So how are they going to increase sales growth? They're more likely to use a lot of promotional strategy, giving customer discounts, allow the customer to have some benefits, so the customer are more likely to buy their products. The third objective is called competitive objective. It's talking about organizations want to meet this competition, avoid this competition, or even undercut these competitive pricings. Right, so we'll just give you a look at a quick example. We know a lot of customers watching sports through cable TVs in the past. For many years, cable TV become a main business models in the US. If the customer want to watch professional sport, you have to pay high monies to subscribe possibly 60-70 channels, having the packages, and then watch some professional sport from ESPN, Fox Sports, or NBC Sports. However, the cable packages, the prices are very, very high. In order to compete against these cable packages, there are a lot of online streaming platforms has been merged in the last, like, say, 5 years or 10 years. One of the examples is Slim TV. Some students might know Slim TV. So Slim TV, unlike Direct TV, which is offered by the AT&T, right? Direct TV, if you want to watch ESPN, they normally bundle a lot of other TV channels that you would never watch. So you have to pay like $50 or $55 at least in order to watch the game that being broadcast on the Direct TVs. Slim TV are using a kind of slightly different strategies. So they're not giving you, they give you small bundles packages instead of having like 160 channels that you barely to watch. So Slim TV normally give you like 40 channels that include ESPN 1, 2, 3. As a customer, now you have to pay $25 and get a Slim TV package. Then you'll be able to watch, sport that you like, and you can enjoy the price. So this is a competitive objective, right? To compete against other traditional cable models. The online streaming platform, they're using a different price to attract customers, to encourage them to switch from traditional cable packages to these online streaming packages. Okay, so this is the organizational objective, which is also another internal factors. In addition to the internal factor, we also have external factors, something not related to organization. We also have some impact on the price you set for your products. And so one big thing is called consumers' demands. We're going to spend some time to talk about price elasticities. And then we have a competition, we have some legal issue, we have economic and technologies. Customers actually play a pretty important roles to determine the price of the products. So customers' perception are important. We talk about the supply and demand models. If you learn economics, those are really basic things, supply and demand models. So we know in the market, if we have more supply than demand, price will normally goes up, right? Because we have more product available in the market, but the customer demand is low, the price price will go down. right? Because we have more products, not that many people want to buy, the price will go down. But if we have a higher demands in the market, but the supply is low, price normally will go up, right? So this is the relationship between supply and demand model that will impact the price we set for the organizations. For the marketers, for the organization, we always face the challenges. It's about whether we need to make the changes on our products. So in the past, for instance, last year's the price is $25. Whether we need to increase the price by $5 next year's, or we need to remain the same. Because all the businessmen, their goal is try to maximize the revenue generations. So when they're making the decision whether we should increase the price or not, so they need to know about the demand, whether they are target audience are very sensitive to this change or not, right? So the sensitivities of the customers toward the price change is called price elasticities. So price elasticities, they measure the extent to which customer purchasing patterns are sensitive to the fluctuations in price. So we basically want to know whether customers, our target audience, whether they are really sensitive towards the price if the price experience changes. So this actually has something to do with the customer's taste, their income levels, and also how many available substitute products in the markets, right? So if customers are very loyal and also their income is high, they don't care if you ask them pay $5 more to buy these products, and also they don't we don't have another competitive products in the markets, so customers' price elasticity possibly will be low. Customer will be not quite sensitive if the price changes, right? So we can charge them higher price. We can help us to maximize the revenue generations, right? So elastic demands refers to a small change in price producing large changes in quantity demands. So to calculate the price elasticities, we have this formula. So this formula identical to this formula, right? This is called price elasticity demands. So basically, it's talking about we're using the percentage change in quantity demand divided by percentage change in the price, right? So basically, we look at this is the quantity, right? So we normally will have two types of number. One number is the initial price. One number is the new price we want to charge for the customer, right? And this is talk about quantities changes, quantity demand changes, right? Just talking about how many customers would like to buy this product if this product's price has been changes, right? The second part is talking about the pricing changes. Okay, so let's look at an example to see how we're able to calculate this here. So if St. Louis Cardinals, they raise their ticket price from $19 to $23, so we would like to know whether the St. Louis Cardinals fans, they are very sensitive toward these price changes now, right? So if there's a $19, they will have 10,000 fans come and watch the game. If the price has been increased to $23, they will have 8,000 fans come here to watch the games. All right, so we put this one into this formula, right? This formula is quantity, the second quantity, just 8,000, right? Because this new price, but 8,000 such as 10,000 divided by 8,000 plus 10,000 divided by 2, right? Below here is the price, right? The second price is a 23 such as 19 divided by 23 plus 19 divided by 2. right? So we put those numbers here, right? It's basically 8,000 subtract 10,000 divided by 8,000 plus 10,000 divided by 2 divided by 23 minus 19, 23 plus 19 divided by 2, right? So we put that in the formula. So the number we got is negative 1.15. What does it mean? Like this price elasticity ratio is 1.15. What does it mean? So this is a relatively inelastic demand. So when we look at these numbers, right, we don't care about whether it's a positive or negative. We don't worry about it. We only look at this number. It's about 1. About 1 means there's a relatively inelastic demand, which means when we increase this price a little bit, sports fans who are following St. Louis Cardinals, they are sensitive to these changes, which means the total revenue we receive will be less than before. Right? If we increase to $23, the total revenue we receive will be less than $19 when the price was $19. Right? It's talking about customer, they are kind of sensitive to these changes. Right? If we want to continue to maximize our revenue, so we possibly not considering charge customer $23, maybe $20, maybe $21, right? Depends on the demand. Right, so this is the price elasticity and how we're able to calculate this. As we talk about the price elasticity, we have some situation. So after we calculation, so you have to remember elasticity of demand is always negative. So we will need to drop the negative side, use the absolute values. Right, we look at the absolute value and then make the comparisons. Right, as we look at the absolute values here, so there are 5 situations. If the elasticity values is equal to 0, that means they are perfectly inelastic. If the less than 1 is relatively inelastic. If the equal to 1 is a unique elastic. If the bigger than 1 is elastic. If that is infinity, that is a perfect elastic. What does it mean? So we're trying to give you a little bit more explanations here. So in one situation is their price elasticity ratio is infinity, right? So that means no change produced in the demands of the product with the change in its price. So that is called perfectly inelastic demands. This is talking about we don't have to worry about how much money we're going to charge for the customer, because customers are so loyal, or this event is so important. Regardless what price we're going to charge for the customers, the demands will remain the same. The demand will be pretty stable. Right, I'll give you an example just like Super Bowl. The event's super popular, right? Even though the price sometimes are ridiculously high, the demand is still really high. So we can charge customer very high price. People still want to pay $2,000, $3,000 to go and watch the games and get that experience. Right, this is called perfectly inelastic demands. Customers are not sensitive to the price change at all. Right. The second one is called perfectly elastic demand. That means a small raise in price will result in demand to 0. Or that means customers only think this product is worth this money. If you would like to increase the price or decrease the price, no one wants to buy a product. The demands go down to 0. Right. So this is called perfectly inelastic demand. The third situation is called relatively elastic demand. Relatively inelastic demands is their absolute values is bigger than 1. So give you example. Look at this example here, right? If the price has been increased from 75 cents to $1, right? You look at the demands is down from 9 to 3, down dramatically. It's talking about the customer is sort of very sensitive to the products that you're providing, which means as a marketer, you have to be really careful about whether you would like to have a change in the price. And the last situation is called relatively inelastic demands. It's talking about the percentage change produced in demand is less than percentage change in the price of the products. Normally, the ratio is less than 1. The absolute value for the ratio is less than 1. It's talking about customers is not quite sensitive to the price changes, which means as a marketer, you are able to increase the price to the value that you want, and customers still would like to come here to buy these products, will not significantly impact or decrease the demands. Okay, so these are 4 different types of situations. If you don't remember, go back to look at these quick summaries, right? They help you to look at 4 different situations. That's one of these external factors, right? It's customers' demands. We talk about elasticity risk. The second situation is about economic. Some students learn about economic, microeconomics, and macroeconomics. So macroeconomics is to look at a bigger picture, how this economics situation will impact the pricing strategies. So as we look at economics, right, so look at the last 100 years, we have like 4 situations. All right, we have a depression, which is when the economy is really down. Right, we have the prosperity, when the situation is very good, GDP is very, very high. GDP, the gross domestic products, is really, really high. Right, we also have a recession. The economics goes down. Right, so we look at the 3 situations. Right, prosperity. Prosperity is talk about we nearly have full employments. Consumer spending is normally high. So prosperity, we talk about low employments, it means a majority of people having a jobs and they're able to bring income. The household income normally is high because most people have the jobs, right? So during the prosperity, the price could be higher, right? Because the customer's income is high, they want to spend money and they have the big purchasing powers, right? And during the recession, normally economic activity slow down, so less productions of the groups, unemployments are increasing, customer spending is decreasing, right? With the unemployment rate, right, which means the household incomes will also be decreasing, so they have less money to spend on the product they want to buy. So during the recession, so the price normally is not going to be very high, so we have to lower the price a little bit, try to let more people able to buy these products, and as a business we're able to continue to make money. But depressions is normally talking about the economy is down for years. They affect the entire economics. Normally unemployment rate is so high, consumer spending is very low because less people have jobs, right? And business output decline drastically. So people always say, hey, what is the difference between the depressions and recessions? So recessions is talking about a periodical temporary economic downturn, right? So normally GDP is negative to 2 consecutive quarters. So like this year, due to COVID-19, so the first quarter GDP is negative, right? The second quarter is 32% negative. It's lowest in the last like 60 years, right? Due to COVID-19, economic shutdown. We have to shut down the state, try to protect people's health, right? So we're experiencing currently is recession, right? The last recession people may remember was in 2008 and 2009, right? Economic recessions, right? The GDP are negative, right? Now GDP is also negative. We're also entering another recession because we have been experiencing prosperity for about 10 years, right? Normally it's the time for the recession, but due to this global pandemic, well, we're just going to a recession. Whether the recession will become a depression, we don't know, right? Depression is normally talking about the decline in the GDP is more than 10%, lasting for 2 or more years, right? The last Great Depression happened in 1929, 1930s, right? This year's economy is definitely going to be bad. It's going to be horrible because a lot of people are losing jobs. A lot of people apply for unemployment benefits. Right? A lot of people are losing jobs. So this year's GDP is definitely down more than 10%, without a doubt, given that current situation. Right? So will this become a depression? That we'll see next year whether we're able to, recover from these global pandemics. A lot of uncertainty at the moment, right? So this is about economics with more people losing jobs during the depressions, recessions. The product's price normally is not very high. You can see a lot of companies, in order to sell more products, they try to give a lot of benefits. A car company in particular, right? So now that you are able to buy the car, to get the 0% APR for 60 months, which has never happened in the last 10 years in the car markets, right? So this is a strategy business try to sell more products, right? This is about economics, microeconomics, and macroeconomics. We look at each of the customers. Particularly we look at customers' income. So there are two definitions we'd like to introduce here. One is disposable income. Another one is discretionary income. Disposable income is the income remaining after deduction of tax and other mandatory charges. Discretionary income is the income that the customer remain after paying tax and buying these necessaries. To give example, if you make $4,000 a month, you pay tax $1,000, $1,000 pay for a mortgage, $6 for foods, $300 for cars, internet cables, phone $200, utility $100, and other costs $200. So disposable income is the income remaining after paying tax and other mandatory charges, right? So 4,000 such as 1,000 tax, 1,000 mortgage, $300 car, 600 foods, and 200 internet cables, and $100 utilities. So $400 such as that many numbers. So the disposable income for you is $800, right? Discretionary income is this $800 such as $200 is you got $600 left over. And you can use the $600 on other entertainments, or you put $600 into bank, or for any other investment, buying insurance, paying for retirement benefits, or some sort of other things. This is about economics. And competition will also impact your pricing strategy. Right? If you have a pure monopoly, which means you are the only one available in the market. We talk about professional sports league in the US. 4 major professional sports league, right? They're the monopoly. NFL, NBA, MLB, and also NHL. But they're the only best professional products in that sports in the market. They're pure monopoly, so they can charge high price. And also we look at this professional sports team, we find out really few areas that they support more than 2 professional sports teams. So a lot of these professional sports teams, they are free to manipulate the price as they want. It holds true for many of the college sports, right? Like Miami Redhawks. So they're the only college sports products available in this market, right? So they are purely monopoly, so they are able to charge high price. Legally, it's talk about we have a small numbers of the phone control markets, where we look at broadcasting markets, where we have ESPN, Fox Sports, we have NBC Sports. So there are few available broadcastings in the markets. So they compete against each other, right? So when they have the competition, they can lower price a little bit. The third type of competition is called monopolist competition. So in this type of competition, we have dozens of the brands with identical product to sales. The example is like a lot of companies are producing tennis rackets, right? So they are fighting for these markets by producing very similar products. Some companies with good brands like Wilson's is really well known for producing the tennis rackets. Het is also another pretty well-known brand. So their products will charge slightly higher price than the other regular products are being made by other manufacturers. The last type of competition is called peer competition. It's a market structure that has so many competitors that no one has influence on the market price. In sports industry, peer competition is very, very non-common, right? But it exists in other industries such as agriculture. So many farmers exist in the market. They're producing similar products. No one has the power to influence this entire market price, right? So this is a competition. And legal consideration is another external factors, right? The first thing, we talk about tax, right? We talk about different state, we have a different tax, so they really change the price. The first example we talk about in this class is about gas stations. The gas price varies state by state. The second thing is, example is like Showman art that was passed in 1890s. So they established the legal list of the restrict price of trade and fixing. So it also restricts the practice of the predominant pricing to drive competition from marketplace through pricings. So they basically prevent the companies to set the monopoly prices in the markets. And Clayton Act in 1940s, they restrict price discrimination. And also Consumer Groups Pricing Act in 1975, they allow retailers to establish final prices. So a lot of this new law and also they has changes has impact the price that we set for the organization. So this is the external factors. So we talk about internal factor, we talk about external factors, and then we're going to look at some pricing strategy that are really common in the sports industries. Before we talk about pricing strategies, we're going to talk a little bit about psychologics. So as we look at consumer behaviors, so this is all about psychology. We try to figure out how customer would think about and what kind of thing that we do will influence about customers' decision-making process. Right, psychological pricing that measure how a customer will judge a price of the products. So those are very obvious examples that we have seen them all the time. The first one is called reference price. When we try to give customers a discount, you go to Amazon, where you find a discount, they always give you what the initial price. So let customers really feel that they're really enjoying the benefits. Right, so they give you the new price and compare with the old price, and they really will encourage customer to buy these products. They give you the reference price, right? And at the second situations, pricing is called all-even price. All-even price is a psychological pricing tactics in which number value is normally utilized to influence about customers' perception of the product values. So they are more likely to use the all part, right? All part of these tactics refers to the pricing ending with 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, or any number just below than even numbers. So for instance, if we want to sell these products at $50, a lot of marketers would like to mark the price is $49.95. Right? For most of the customer, those are lower than $50. Right? From the market perspective, there's not much difference by $49.99 and $50. But a lot of customers will feel like did not see the number 5 in front, so really think this is really reasonable products. So they also encourage customer to buy these products. The last one is called customary price. Is the customer expect a certain traditional price. We find out this is also very common. We try to give customer discount. We always let them know, hey, this is the last day for us to sell these things. You can buy one, get one free, right? We always, market try to emphasize like get one free, right? Possibly they made the other thing, the word very, very small, and also other explanation are very, very small. So this also can really catch people's attention. People say, oh, that's something free, you can get one free. So they would like to figure out more and try to, buy the products. So this is another example. So those are about psychology of the pricings. And there are a lot of the pricing strategies. The one pricing strategy is called price discrimination. It's talking about we using different price that's set for the same products due to the demographics. We talk about the gas price of varies state by state, right? So this is the price discriminations, right? We're using a different prices in different states because the customer's income are different. Same product, different price. The second one is about seasonal pricings. Right, seasonal pricing that has common in sports industry. This is similar to, we'll say, bundling the product together. Instead of selling, if we have 20 home games, instead of selling 20 individual games, we package together, give people a season tickets. Right, so we have a peak low pricings. So this setting different prices for the same product demands at the different points in time. We also have off-peak pricings. We can low prices due to the low use. So season ticket is actually a very smart idea that can really help the company, help the team to sell more products, right? Because the season tickets, there are some games obviously really popular, but they also play a lot of home games that plays are not as popular as the other games. So selling the season ticket, you can guarantee that you are able to have more fans come here to watch the games compared to selling the tickets one by one. We also have other methods that can help us increase the ticket sales, where we have a member pricings, encourage people to sign up for the memberships, and then you can enjoy the member price, right? Kroger is example, right? They encourage people to have the Kroger card because a lot of products are sold in Kroger's. Members can enjoy the benefits, right? And also we have secondary market prices, and we also have early bird pricings. They encourage people to sign up early, and then you can have benefits, right? So those are the strategy how we're able to sell more things. In sport, I would like to emphasize in these two types of the pricings are very common in the team sport. One is called variable pricing. Another one is called dynamic pricings. So the variable pricings is we're selling the same seed for the different prices, depends on the factors such as the time, its place, or opponents. So we have two categories initially, right? We have regular or we have premiums, right? Nowadays We also have a lot of different categories now. I'll give you an example. University of Texas and Texas A&M, right? University of Texas, this is the college football seasons, right? When the prices normally are based on the quality of their opponents, right? You find out when University of Texas, they play against Oklahoma, they charge $110, right? Oklahoma State $85, Texas Tech $95. So you find out when they play their rival games, the prices are very high, right? Texas A&M, when they play Texas, that's a rival game, the prices are very high. When they play against very strong team like Alabama, it's very good teams, right? Also, Texas A&M is belongs to SEC conference. When they play conference games, the price is also high. Alabama's, LSU's, Missouri's, right? The conference game, the prices are very high. University of Texas belongs to Big 12. So when they play Oklahoma State's, Texas Tech's, Oklahoma's, so their prices are high. Same conference game, right? Kansas and TCU, their team is not as strong as the other teams, so their prices are low. So this is called variable prices, right? We're hosting different football games, but we charge customer different prices. And the second type of pricing is called dynamic pricings. Right? Dynamic prices is our insight of setting stadium seat price based on real-time market demands and other data. So the dynamic ticket pricings, this idea was adopted in the airline business first. So they started to use in 1980s. Right? So if you book a flight, you will find out. So for instance, if I booked a flight from Cincinnati to Los Angeles, I would like to travel on December. So if I book the flight right now, or I booked the flight on November, or I booked the flight one day before my travels, you find out the flight tickets that has been changed all the time. So right, flight ticket price has been changed all the times. This is called dynamic pricing. So for the airline business, they're using a lot of data. So this data let them know which market, which season is peak season, which seasons is not peak seasons. So they measure the demand in these markets and made the changes. If demand is really high, the price is going to be really high. If demand is low, the price is low. So they using the real time to go and set the price. And for the airline business, in order to maximize the revenue generations, they also use another strategy is called flight ticket oversold. Some students might know, because that happen all the time is some of the customer, they purchase tickets, but they won't show up on their travel days, or maybe they're late, so they not be able to catch this flight. So a lot of the airlines, because they're using dynamic pricing strategies, so they decided to oversell some tickets for some airline, particularly when this airline is really busy. So for instance, if we got 100 seats in this airline, they normally sell 105 tickets. And they just anticipate that we have 4 to 5 customers not going to show up on that time, and they won't. They can help them to maximize the revenues, right? So what if the airline is full, which means we sold 105 tickets, 105 customers all here, right? So normally the airline will use another strategy, is they will ask people to give up their tickets. They say anyone that you don't want to travel today, you can keep up your tickets. We can give you like $200 credits, and we can also put you into the 5-star hotel. You can stay there overnight and catch the flight later. dynamic pricing strategy that has been utilized in the airline business. Some students always want to know how we're able to get cheapest air tickets, right? Because nowadays air tickets not cheap at all. So there's one study. They gather all the data for 3 years, and they try to look at how we're able to get the lowest tickets. So they find out there are 3 things, right? So first thing is like you need to book the ticket 12 weeks in advance your travel days. So for instance, if you plan to travel in September, you have to book the flights in like June or July, so like exact 12 weeks. So then normally you will get the lowest price. Another very important thing to say, if you want to enjoy the low price and you can travel on Wednesday, you find out Wednesday morning normally price is the lowest. And also, of course, you can travel at night, very late night. A lot of the red eye airlines, so that you can travel, use the red line airlines, that the price also will be lower. This is about the dynamic pricing strategy. We talk about dynamic pricing strategy, not just used in the airline business, but also used in the sports industry. So MLB San Francisco Giants was the first team to introduce the dynamic pricing strategy in 2010. Now, basically, majority of the MLB team and all the NFL teams has been using the dynamic pricing strategies. So dynamic pricing strategies is telling customers, saying like, you have to buy this ticket earlier. What if our team's performance is very good, the demand is keep going in this market, that the price for the rest seasons will be really, really high. So the dynamic pricing strategies, the ticket price will be impacted by many different reasons. Supply and demand is big things, right? If demand is high, if the team have good result, you have star player playing really, really well, the demand is going to be high, the price is going to be really, really high. For the advantage of having a dynamic pricings is they provide both team and fans with the ticket price more closely approximately the actual values. Both course they have some concerns. For the teams, they concern about the price may also drops lower than the face value. So if the team's performance is poor, the demand is low, right? Because you're using dynamic pricing, right? Using the data, right? Sometimes the ticket price may be lower than the face value. That's also common too, right? Nearly half of the revenue of the NFL is actually contracted paid to the players. So in addition to that, all the NFL teams, they also have to pay 33% of their revenue into a pool that is evenly shared among all those professional NFL teams. So a lot of MFL teams, in order to share less revenues with other teams, so they decided to put some of their seats as a dynamic pricings. They're not using all the seats, but some, like 10%, for instance, they're using 10% of the seats. They sell it as a dynamic pricings, which can help the team to maximize revenue generations. That is a pretty good strategy to help them to generate revenues. That will also have huge impact on the season ticket holder too. So they actually encourage more fans to become the season ticket holders, because sports fans know if they don't buy tickets in advance, the ticket price will go up. So becoming season ticket holders, they don't have to worry whether the tickets will be really expensive, or they really want to go to one game, they cannot really afford to go to that game because the price is very expensive. So they also really help the sales of the season tickets too. So this is about dynamic pricing strategy. We're using one example. I'm showing you examples here, right? Here the LA Kings. This LA Kings price based on demands, opponents, day of the week and number of days before the games, right? The price might vary from week to week, also as a finals. So this is a dynamic pricing strategy. So the big difference between the variable pricing and dynamic pricing is variable pricing is we set the price before the season starts and we are not going to change the price. Dynamic pricing strategy is talking about the club set the initial price. However, it is not fixed in time. Between the moments the tickets are put on sales and the time the game starts, the price might change. This will happen as responded to variations in demand. So that is the difference. Variable pricing, we set that before the season starts. Price is going to be set price. We're not going to change. Dynamics is not a set price. Another two pricing strategies, one is bidding. Not quite common in sport, but in other business we're able to see like travel. So there's some websites. We always want to buy cheap flight tickets and cheap hotel, right? So they just want you to put all the information there, not giving you the real flight. They just, for instance, I want to travel from Cincinnati to Los Angeles on Wednesday, right? I want to travel in the Wednesday mornings, so I just pick Wednesday morning. I want to buy the hotel, book the hotel as well, right? So I put all my requests there, so they give me a price. This price normally is lower than the price I search online, but they're not going to tell you which airline, what time you'll be leaving, right? So if I say I would like to bid for it, I pay for it, unrefundable, and I can enjoy lower the prices. And after I pay for it, I put all my credit card informations, and they let me know which flight ticket they just booked for us. So this is about bidding. Not quite common in sport, but like eBay is also bidding, right? Using a bidding to set the price for the products. Second-hand markets is possible for the biddings. Another one is bundle, right? We bundle all these benefits together. We go to movie theater, so they sell tickets, soft drinks, popcorn together, and to give you a package. We bundle things together. Cable is the same, bundle multiple channels, sell it together. Sports events also same. You go to FIFA World Cup final, they give you a package, right? They give you different packages. So these are other pricing strategies. Okay, today we talk about pricing strategy in sports. Let's have a quick review. Right, pricing strategy has been impacted by internal and external factors. Internal factors including marketing mix, cost, organizational objective. External factors including customer demands, economic, competition, and legal. Right, pricing strategy, we talk about psychology of the pricing. We talk about referencing pricing, or even pricing, and customary pricings. Right, we also talk about season pricing, variable pricing, dynamic pricing, and some other pricing strategy that has been utilized in sports. Alright, that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching these videos. We'll see you guys next time.